When I think about mating and intimacy, evolutionary wise, for millennia, we have, as humans, been able to find partners without technology. And when you think of modern technology, the internet really came online in the mid 90s, and dating
Mhm.
apps came in line much after that. But when I talk to a lot of Gen Zers now, and even millennials, and you ask them about going out and socializing and finding a mate, a lot of them tell me that's not even where it happens anymore. You have to do it online. And it
Mhm.
just leads me to shaking my head in many ways because when I think of dating apps, they've expanded the possibilities globally, and you talk a lot about this in your chapter 3. But as we were just talking about choices, they also introduce decision overload, unrealistic expectations, instability, and in some ways, I think it's made it worse than what we once had before. So, how do you think they're, in some ways, expanding connection, but in other ways, industrializing rejection and people not being able to find mates?
I love that you bring this up because I think at its core, they're doing both, and that's the challenge. I think that so many of us want to have a hot take on online dating and app dating. Is it great? Is it terrible? Is it frustrating? Is it exciting? It's both. It's all of those things. And it's one, we're seeing the technology meeting people where they are, which is on apps and websites. And to your point, our data show that it is the most common way that singles, well over 100 million singles in the United States, as you mentioned earlier, over close to 40% of the adult population at any given time, that the number one place that singles are meeting their most recent date is on an app or a website, far more than bars or clubs or church or school or friends. In that sense, they are working. They are the place that people are meeting partners and relationships are forming and marriages are forming. And for many people, particularly let's say LGBTQ people, they're far safer than walking into a bar. Now, if you're in New York or Miami, you might be thinking, saying, "What is this guy talking about?" But in many places in the world, if you're LGBTQ, how do you find someone else in your community? Are you safe walking into a place to try to pick someone up? So they offer a level of getting through the noise to find someone that aligns with what you're looking for, particularly if you're a sexual gender minority. We have multinational data where we found that women, for instance, in India and Turkey, in countries that are characterized by less gender egalitarianism, they find online and app dating much safer than dating in initial courtship face to face because they have more control in the digital context.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of opportunity. There's also if you want to find someone of the same religion, of the same ethnic background, with the same hobbies, with the same kink, with the same allergies, whatever, that we have these opportunities to do that with these technologies. So I think there's extraordinary opportunity. All right, that's the pro. The challenge is, as you also suggested, that there's information overload, that our brains are not equipped for the idea that you can swipe 3,000 partners before lunch, potential partners before lunch. And that's where we get into this problem of you you connect with someone and you just often think, yeah, but you're not really perfect. I can get back on the app and swipe for a little bit more and find someone closer to my perfect. So we ruminate on our ideals, and it goes back to what you and I were just talking about. It forgets that so much of our relationships, so much of what we're attracted to, that comes out over time. So you're focused on these instantaneous ideals and not
Yeah.
on getting to know someone, all the excitement and fun that comes from expansion of self, exploring the world, exploring who you are, who I am, who we are together, that the apps can help cause us to lose sight of that, of the beauty of the sort of engagement of going on actual dates, getting to know someone. So I think that's the complexity there. There's a lot of opportunity, but we struggle with the data. We struggle with the sheer volume of opportunity. And when the brain thinks that we have an unlimited resource, we have a really hard time focusing on the person in front of us.
The other side of it, Justin, for me is I think we're biologically wired for touch and
Hmm.
closeness.
Yeah.
And when intimacy for so many people is becoming mostly digital, it just makes me wonder if we outpaced our evolutionary design for intimacy through the use of technology. And is that one of the biggest things that's causing this huge gap that we're seeing for Gen Z that we started the whole discussion with?
I love that. And as a social primate, back to being a social primate, we know that touch is important. And it's whether it's licking and grooming behavior that we see in many, including primates, the 15% of primates engage in pair bonding. And we know that touch is important. We learn a lot of information, sensory information through touch. My colleague Michelle Drouin, I'm looking at my bookshelf, looking at her book, writes about, in her book, she calls it a touch famine that we're experiencing in her book, Out of Touch. And I love that phrase. And it's a reminder to your point, John, it's not just singles who are looking for it. We did a study here at the Kinsey Institute, Amanda and I, we found that a third of partnered people who are long term partnered, 34.4%, I still remember the statistic, say that they're not touched enough by their romantic partner. That's a pretty high number of people in relationships who say they're not being touched enough. No less people who are single who are looking for that connection. And that it's part of our legacy. I totally agree with you. We are a we're a social primate. We want to feel connected. And when we say feel connected, it's in the full sensory experience. We want to be heard, both metaphorically and literally. We want to be seen. We want to be felt. We want to be known.